Closer to a U than a V. Yes, definitely. Okay, inside. Number 1. Let's do f of x is equal to, let's see if I can find mine real quick. Here it is. Let's do 3. Oh, didn't put my f of x there. And it'll be f of x or y on your classwork is equal to 3 in parentheses x plus 1 quantity squared and then plus 2. Now, before you graph it, you do want to state your vertex. Even if I was graphing it on a calculator, I probably would go ahead and state my vertex. The inside here is going to be the opposite. The x gives you the x, and it's going to be opposite, -1. And then the outside's going to be the same, which is a +2, and I'll put the positive there for emphasis. Anytime you have it in parentheses, we will do later circles and hyperbolas and some things that have the x and y both in parentheses. When it's in parentheses, it's always going to be opposite. So the x gives you the x opposite, and that goes back, if you look into that lesson 23, when we did the inside that absolute value bars, it caused it to be opposite. If it was +1, it went to the left one, that type thing. And the other thing, a is 3, and then we'll come back and talk about how to graph that. It's not slope, kind of acts like slope, but not near like it did in lesson 23. Pretty standard, -1, 2 is not a difficult vertex, and so we'll just draw just a basic x and y axis. The big grid will be fine. I think your classwork's on big grid. Probably. That's probably the slips you have. And I'll plot -1, 2, which is up here. We do know it opens up. I think it may ask you that on the classwork, but I mean, I can see it obviously in your graph. Now, let's see if you remember this. You're going to take your A and you're going to put it over a 1. Now, yesterday I specifically said, hey, I'm going to put +3. I said +1, but it's actually, you'll see what we're going to do. So I'm just going to say 1 because we're going to go up 3. And then we're going to go over 1 left and right. Because you have to have 3 points to draw a parabola. 2 points make a line, 3 points make a parabola. Or a V. You had to have 3 to do a V too. So, let's go up 3. And then over 1 to the right and over 1 to the left. The bigger the A, if A's 1, it's standard. Up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. And then if it's bigger than 1, it's going to be skinnier. Now this one's you tend to want to draw it as a V. Just don't get a ruler out and just kind of round it a little bit. You have to put a little rounding to it, and I didn't do a very good job of that on this one. I tell everybody I'm not looking for perfection, I'm looking for closeness. If it's just way off, I will sketch over it, I'll say see me, and just give you a little bit of better feel for it. When you see them on Friday, when you graph them on your calculator and then graph them on the graph paper, it will help a little bit better. That's pretty much it. Okay, let's do number 2. We might could do a third one, but I don't think you need it because this pretty much covers all the bases. F of x is equal to -3/4 parentheses x minus 5 close parentheses squared. Vertex. I like to do my vertex first because that kind of gives me an idea of what my graph needs to look like. So I look at what's inside here, and so this will give you my x gives you the x, y gives you the y when you have them in parentheses. So here it's going to be opposite +5. Now, what is there when there's nothing there? 0. And it's just 0. It's neither positive or negative. So 0 is your y. And while I'm there, let me show you. If you have one like this, if you have something like, say you had f of x is equal to maybe 4x squared minus 2, the vertex would be 0, -2, because this is your A, and this is what's attached to your X before it's squared. So nothing is added in here. It would actually be like this, 4 times X plus 0 squared. So this is would give you the X, and this would give you the Y. So be careful on those. And we'll see some of those. So, and when I get ready to do that, I do know it's going to open down. But because positive 5, 0 is kind of like on this one, it's going to be way over here, I'm going to kind of shift my Y-axis over. I'm going to do my X-axis first. And then I'm going to put my Y like over here. So that's why I like to do my vertex first. Kind of gives me a feel for where I need to draw it. Because if I drew it like that one up there, I might not have room, especially when you're doing it on a slip. Okay, 5 zeros over here. Oh, by the way, let me say it here, let me say it here. Some of you, when we did these, let's see if I can flip back to that real quick. Make sure I'm in the right notebook. What page was it? 56. Wanted to do, when we were doing the shortcut here, you would want to do, like here, if the stretch was 2, you would go up 2 over 1, and then you would go up 2 over 1 again. And I said to you then, that works here because this is very linear. You are not going to get more than 3 points from this. You're only going to get 1 on the left and 1 on the right, because what's happening is that 3/4 is attached to an X that's being squared. So it's not 3/4, you know, like its regular slope. And that's the other thing is, some of you would do down 3 over 4, which worked with these because they're very linear, but these are not going to work that way. So here's what you need to write. A equals -3/4. So you're going to take the -3/4 and you're going to put it over 1. Okay. You go down 3/4, and I promise you, going down 3 over 4 will not work. We can try it. I'll show you on Friday when we do it on the calculator. It's easier to show you. And then you're going to go over 1 left and right. You got to do it that way. That's what you're doing. The over 1 is taking care of 1 to the, you're doing actually 4. It's like putting 4 in for X, and it's like putting 6 in for X. It's the 1 for the T-table. We're just doing a T-table kind of as a shortcut. So when you go down 3/4, it's almost down. Just make sure you go more than half. It's almost down -1. If you want to put just a little bitty dot there, you can. And then you're going to go 1 to the right, and you're going to go 1 to the left. Now connecting these, a lot of people want to do this. They do this, and then they go like straight. And I'm not great at these either. But when this is between 0 and 1, if you remember, it's going to be a little bit wider than the parent. And the parent was what we drew here. It's going to be a little bit wider than that. And they're harder. They're just harder to draw. I mean, obviously, absolute value is easy. Lines are easy. But anything from now on, cubes forth, are harder to draw because you don't have linear relationships. And that's probably about the best you could do on that one. Okay, we did great. You must have taken less time on your quiz than my regular class did. So I'm going to stop here. I'm going to go check your slips. That'll be perfect.